Good morning, everyone. Before we begin today, I'd like for us to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. Suva. We pay our respects to their chiefs, past and present, as well as the Vanua Onondonumai. We acknowledge their role as stewards of the Vanua that so many of us are privileged to call home. On behalf of Dialogue Fiji, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the commemoration of the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination 2026. This year's theme is Confronting Racism and Building Social Cohesion in Fiji. And it calls on all of us to reflect, engage, and take action towards a more inclusive and united society. Having said that, I would now like to invite the Executive Director of Dialogue Fiji, Mr. Nilesh Lal, to deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Honorable Commissioner from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Fiji, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of civil society, distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, and fellow citizens of Fiji. A very warm welcome to you all. It is both a privilege and also a responsibility for Dialogue Fiji to once again convene this national commemoration of the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. For several years now, Dialogue Fiji has marked this day with purpose and intent, not because it is easy, but because it is absolutely necessary in a country like Fiji. So observing this day in Fiji is not only symbolic, it is also essential. If you look at our history, we've got quite a checkered history, I would say, that is marked by moments of division, tension, and political upheaval, where race has often sat at the center. And of course, these are not abstract issues, they are lived realities for our society. They continue to influence how communities relate to each other, about how institutions function, and about how trust is built and also broken. And in a developing state like ours, the cost of racial division are not just social, they are economic, they are political, and they are deeply structural as well. Division weakens investor confidence, it disrupts social stability, fuels migration, it drains talent out of the country, it slows down development, and quite simply what this means that a divided society is never able to develop to its potential. And when that happens, then every citizen is, of course, worse off. We do not need to look far to understand where unchecked division can lead to across the world. There are several examples of context where racial hatred, when left unrest, has actually led to conflict, instability, and in extreme cases, it has also led to genocide and, of course, ultimately state failure. So these are lessons that are written in history, and also for us, there are warnings that we cannot afford to ignore. But today is, of course, not about fear. It is about hope. It is about responsibility. I say it is about responsibility because racism, in all its forms, weakens nations. It erodes trust, it undermines fairness, and it fragments the very foundation upon which inclusive development must stand. We are, of course, encouraged by initiatives aimed at promoting reconciliation and unity in Fiji, including the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We are thankful for the presence of the Honorable Commissioner here, who is also going to speak. We believe and I think in our invitation letter to the chair of the commission, we also pointed it out that one of the key mandates of the commission is to promote social cohesion through healing and reconciliation. And so today's day is, of course, is of a lot of relevance to the work of the commission. But of course, when we have national initiatives like the Truth and Reconciliation Initiative that is going on, we also need to also be honest with ourselves about our commitment to some of these initiatives and the broader outcomes that we are hoping to achieve. There always has to be alignment between rhetoric and action. Commitments to social cohesion must be reflected not just in speeches and policy statements, but also in decisions, in institutions, and in everyday governance. The credibility of any national effort will ultimately depend on this alignment. At Dialogue Fiji, of course, over the years, we have chosen to engage with issues that are sensitive, complex, and at times uncomfortable. We do so because we believe that silence does not build cohesion, but dialogue does. Through our national engagements, community dialogues, and civic education work, we have sought to create spaces where difficult conversations can take place with respect, dignity, and purpose. Spaces where people are heard, where perspectives are shared, and where understanding begins. Today's program, of course, continues that effort. We're also happy that we received a huge, in fact, overwhelming response to the advertisement that we put out to recruit contestants for the National Oratory Contest. We have been able to, unfortunately, only accommodate, a proportion of those that applied, but it is great to see that young people are fronting up, and they, as we will see later, would be speaking of issues that are of grave consequence to the country. So when we have a movement that is driven by the young people, then that is obviously going to in future lead to social change that is going to benefit society. So I hope that today is not going to be just another commemoration of an international day, that it is going to be a moment of intention, a moment where we would also reflect upon and confront some difficult truths, a moment where we also reform our shared humanity, and a moment to, for every one of us here and everywhere else that is connected, to commit to building a Fiji that is not weakened by its diversity, but rather strengthened by it. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for being here, and I wish you a meaningful and an impactful day. Thank you.
Apologies. In my haste to make sure that we started on time and Archana and Pooja didn't give me the evil eyes, I failed to introduce myself. My name is Hosanna Kambokoro. I hail from the beautiful village of Nauini in the Kondrove in Vanuatu. And I really do hope, I've attended quite a few Dialogue Fiji events over the last few years, and I really hope that we leave today fully inspired by the voices of the next generation, because only through creating spaces for dialogue can we ensure that we create a more inclusive Fiji. Having said that, we're now going to invite a man who has quite the job in front of him, Mr. Sekove Nangyolevu from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, to now address us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Nisambula Vinaka. Namaste. Now Maori. Assalamu alaikum, and a warm greetings to you all. Let me begin by acknowledging and sincerely thanking Dialogue Fiji for convening this important commemoration and for its continued leadership in bringing together diverse stakeholders. Dialogue Fiji has consistently marked this day over the years, as Mr. Lal has briefly addressed, demonstrating a strong and unwavering commitment to promoting dialogue, mutual understanding, and social cohesion in Fiji. As a civil society organization, their ability to engage with sensitive yet critical issues, including those relating to race, identity, and national unity, is both commendable and necessary. Thank you, Mr. Lal, for inviting us and including us in your work. As you know, we are a small commission. There's only 5 commissioners with a staff of less than 30 people. But we appreciate the work and cooperation from your organization, because we cannot do this on our own. We have a huge task before us, and we have to cover the whole country. And we've only covered a certain part of the country. We still have to cover the northern part of Fiji and indeed the maritime islands. But we will continue that work, but with your help, Mr. Director, we hope that we can achieve. It is a big task. We've only got less than a year to complete our task and present our report to His Excellency, the President, with our recommendations from the survivors and the stories that they've told us in some of these spots all over Fiji. We've suffered greatly during the upheaval of 87, 2000, 2006. Thank you. Today is a very auspicious day. We gather to commemorate the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, a day that reminds us of both the painful consequences of division and the enduring responsibility we share to build societies grounded in dignity, equality, and respect. The origins of the days are stark. In 1960, in Sharpeville, South Africa, police opened fire on a peaceful protest against apartheid passed laws, killing 69 people. In the aftermath of this tragedy, the United Nations General Assembly marked this moment as one of the darkest in human history, a reflection of what can happen when division, discrimination, injustice are allowed to take root to take root in society. But it also became a global call to action to ensure that such moments are never repeated. Looking to our beloved country, while our story is vastly different, we too are not untouched by the impact of division. Our history reflects periods where racial tensions have shaped national discourse, influenced governance, and our collective memory. These have strained the fabric of our national unity. And yes, while these moments may not mirror Sharpeville in a scale or circumstances, they remind us that even in peaceful societies, divisions can take hold in ways that affect trust, opportunity, and a sense of belonging. Moreover, there is another important lesson we can draw from South Africa. In the aftermath of apartheid, South Africa chose a path that of silence, but of confrontation and healing. The establishment of Truth and Reconciliation Commission was born out of a recognition that divided a society cannot move forward without first acknowledging its past. That justice, healing, and unity requires truth. In many ways, Fiji now finds itself on a similar journey. While our context is different, the underlying need is the same: to confront difficult chapters in our history, to provide space for those who were affected to be heard, and lay the foundation to genuine reconciliation. Like South Africa, we recognize that reconciliation is not possible without truth, and that unity cannot be built on unspoken pain. Today reminds us that eliminating social discrimination is not a one-day or one-person effort. It is an ongoing commitment that requires a whole of society effort. That too that too root out the seeds of division and discrimination. From our society, all of us must work together in calling out societal misdeeds, changing prejudice in all its form, and holding ourselves and each one accountable to the words we speak and the action we take. It requires us to move beyond silence and complacency and instead choose courage, to stand for fairness, to defend the dignity of others, and to actively build bridges where there may be division. This must be our ongoing commitment, to listen more deeply, to understand more honestly, and to act more courageously in how we treat one another. At the heart of this work is social cohesion, as alluded to by the director. Social cohesion is not simply about coexistence, it is about connection. It is about building trust across communities, fostering mutual respect, and ensuring that every person feels they belong, regardless of their background. This is where the work of the Commission becomes especially important. Our mandate calls on us to actively promote social cohesion, but we recognize that cohesion cannot be imposed. It must be built certainly and carefully and intentionally. We do this by creating safe space for truth-telling. These spaces are vital. They allow survivors and witnesses, those impacted by past political upheaval, to share their testimonies. They provide an opportunity not only to speak, but to be heard. Truth-telling is not about reopening wounds for the sake of it. It is about acknowledging realities that have too often been ignored or silenced. It is about creating a foundation for healing and reconciliation. Because without truth, there can be no genuine understanding. And without understanding, there can be no lasting unity. As a commission, we are committed to facilitating these conversations with care, respect, and integrity. We aim to bring people together, not to divide, but to bridge differences and build a shared path forward. But this work cannot be done by the Commission alone. Each of us has a role to play in our homes, in our workplaces, in our communities, in our worship places, and in our friend circles. We must choose dialogue over division, empathy over prejudice, and unity over fear. At this juncture, I would like to acknowledge the importance of the young people in this journey. You are indeed important as part of this important journey. Young people have a critical role in shaping a more inclusive, cohesive Fiji. Their voices, their ideas, and their participation, including in initiatives such as the upcoming oratory contest, are vital in helping to build a future that is grounded in respect and understanding. Let us use this day not only to remember, but to recommit. To recommit to a Fiji where diversity is celebrated, not feared, where differences are respected, not exploited, where every person feels safe, valued, and heard. If we can do this together, then we move closer to a future defined not by our divisions, but by our shared humanity. Vinakabakalevu, Daniabad, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, sir. We're going to be transitioning into the highlight of today's program, which is the National Youth Oratory Contest. So you'll just give us a few minutes. We're just going to change the setup on stage. And Archana is going to introduce our judges for today.
There are two very important components to an oratory. One, of course, our most wonderful orators who are seated on the left. Everybody please give a huge round of applause to the future of Fiji, the youth who are going to state their views today. And the other very important component are the judges. And for today, we have two very important and very well-known personalities in the house to help us assess their performances, and a very unenviable task of picking winners from such a accomplished group. And first and foremost, we have the director, Center for Gender and Social Justice from Pacifica Communities University, Ms. Emily Dutui Turanga. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Ms. Emily. And may I ask her to take her place at the judges' table? Accompanying her, we have a very accomplished lady, law lecturer at the University of Fiji and board member of Dialogue Fiji, Ms. Varsha Bano. Thank you very much, our esteemed judges. We have represented in front of you the civil society as well as academia, and we are very appreciative of the time they've taken to assist us in such a worthy cause of assessing our orators today. Now, with that note, I'd just quickly like to go over the oratory guidelines so we are all on one page. The orators are across this in detail, but for our audience as well. This National Oratory Contest is organized by Dialogue Fiji to mark the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, which is tomorrow, but we are celebrating it today. We are commemorating it today to ensure we have convenience for all the school students, the working people, as well as tertiary students. This contest provides a platform for young people to reflect on issues of racism, equality, and social cohesion in Fiji. It was open to youth from ages 15 to 25 years, and they may be secondary school students, university students, or young people within the eligible age range. They were invited through an open registration format, and we've obtained all necessary consent from their parents in that regard. The theme, overall overriding theme for the contest today was confronting racism and building social cohesion in Fiji. And there were 5 guiding questions that the students have used to format and formulate their oratories. What are the root causes of racism in Fiji? What drives racial division in Fiji? What are the economic and social costs of racism? How can Fiji strengthen trust and unity between communities? And what role can young people play in building a more cohesive society? Each participant will deliver a speech up to a maximum of 5 minutes. A warning bell will be given at 4 minutes and a final bell at 5 minutes. Participants exceeding 5 minutes 30 seconds may receive a penalty in marking. Speeches are to be delivered in English, and they are the original work created by each of the orators. We encourage the participants to please do not read directly. Use cue cards if you need to. There are no, it's not permitted to use visual aids or props. And the judging will be evaluated on this criteria: content and relevance to the theme, originality and insight, structure and organization, delivery and confidence, language and clarity, audience engagement, and overall impact. Once again, the judge's decision will be final. That's about it in terms of the guidelines and rules. And now with the boring bit over, I'll hand it back over to Hosanna, who'll take us into the most exciting part of the day today.
Thank you. I hope you guys are ready and excited. I know you guys have been preparing for a while now. In the spirit of dialogue, we are actually going to have some audience participation today. So we're going to be asking a few questions to the audience. Do we have a microphone available for the audience? Is there a mic available for the audience? Yeah? Okay, sweet. All right, so just raise your hand if you know the answer. I'll ask 2 questions. The first question is, which section of the 2013 Constitution of Fiji protects the rights to equality and freedom from discrimination? Immediately, sir in the green shirt. Yes. If you would just stand up, introduce yourself, and then answer the question.
780 Thou from the Pacific Center for Peace Building. The answer, section 23, subsection 3.
Almost. I'll give you section 26, subsection 3, which is a person must not be unfairly discriminated against directly or indirectly on the grounds of his or her actual or supposed personal characteristics or circumstances, including race, culture, ethnic or social origin, color, place of origin, sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, birth, primary language, economic or social or health status, disability, age, religion, conscience, marital status, or pregnancy. Thank you so much. You were so close. The second question is, I'll read it slower. What is the name? Oh, and we have t-shirts available, so we're upping the ante. What is the name of the international convention that focuses on eliminating racial discrimination worldwide? Again, this section of the room is on fire.
The International Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination.
Just one more time for me, yeah.
It's ICERD, the International Convention for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination.
A round of applause. Thank you so much. You get a t-shirt. So we have gone over the rules and regulations. You guys have been preparing. I know your families are here to see you guys. And I think we're going to start off with our very first orator. It doesn't say what school you guys are from, so I'm just going to introduce you by name. We have Mere Saulo. Is Mere Saulo here? If we can have a round of applause for Mere Saulo. It is never easy to be the first one, so way to go, girl, and good luck.
There is no room for racism in Fiji. One ocean, one nation, one Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow colleagues, panel of judges, and respective guests, let me begin with a question. If a cyclone strikes Fiji tonight, will the wind stop and ask the ethnicity we come from? Will the rain stop and ask what race we come from? Will the storm stop and ask what culture we belong? No, because nature understands something that we sometimes forget. We are in the same storm together, the same canoe. Imagine standing on one of the shores in Fiji, looking at the sun as it rises above the Pacific Ocean. And the waves stretches across more than 330 islands that make the Republic of Fiji. And across these waters are different canoes, many sizes, many designs, many colors, but they travel across the same ocean. Fiji is that ocean. And we, the Itokes, the Indo-Fijians, the Banabans, the South Pacific Islanders, we are the canoes. According to recent status, Fiji has approximately more than 930,000 people living across these islands. Different language, different histories, different cultures, yet one nation, one ocean. Despite sharing this destiny, we must confront a hard truth. Racism still exists in Fiji. Sometimes it appears loudly in politics. Sometimes it appears silently in our personal conversation. Racism, whether silent or loudly, it brings something very dangerous. It divides the paddlers, and we all know the canoes can only move forward if the paddlers paddle together. My fellow Fijians, division is a luxury that we cannot afford because the challenges are already heavy. According to the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, 1 in 3 Fijians live below the poverty line. According to UNICEF, more than a quarter of our children, they have multidimensional poverty, which means they lack basic necessities like healthcare, education. More than 17% of our youths are out there looking for employment, struggling to find work. That leads me to my second question. If a child goes to bed hungry, does hunger come and ask, what ethnicity are you? If a youth finding employment, does unemployment goes and ask, what race are you? No. These challenges do not divide us. But why are we dividing ourselves? Racism, if we allow it to grow, it will weaken the very unity we need to face these challenges. Let me be clear. Crime does not belong to one race. Drugs do not target one ethnicity. And violence do not choose its victims according to culture. We are all threatened. But Fiji, we also prove something. We are strong. We can reconcile. We can recover. We can rise. Because beneath our differences, we have something that is stronger. We have belief. Believe in community. Believe in faith. The word of the Bible says in Psalms 133:1, oh, how good and how well we see God's people gather together under unity. So unity is not just about politics. Unity is about faith. Unity is about responsibility. And the lesson is clear. Together, we are strong. But if you stand individually, you are fragile. So how can we confront racism or bring about social cohesion in Fiji? Firstly, we must address it honestly. Secondly, we must learn each other's stories. Thirdly, we must allow the young people to lead, because as of now, the young people are living the future that we talk about. We grow together, we work together, we learn together, we stay in the same classroom together. My fellow Fijian, my Fiji will not be built with fear. It will be built by trust, never by division, but by unity. Our Fiji belongs to everybody. Our island belongs to everybody who dreams here, everybody who sees the future here, everybody who struggles here, everybody who has in its heart that Fiji is their home. Our island belongs to everybody. One Fiji, one canoe, one island. Vinakawakaleu.
Wow, I think we're off to a very strong start. Well done, Mere. Sevuloni Amatoali. If we can give a big round of applause to Sevuloni, please.
Respected judges, distinguished guests, and my fellow young people of Fiji. Let me begin with a question. What does it truly mean to be a Fijian? Is it the language that we speak? Is it the color of our skin? Or is it something deeper? Something that connects each and every one of us that calls Fiji our home. Recently, Fiji just witnessed something remarkable. A young Indo-Fijian man, the famous Musa, was believed to have gone missing after traveling to Mbua. His family was worried, and the news quickly spread about him. But what happened next was remarkable. People all across Fiji, Itoke, Indians, Rotumans, came together to share his story, to pray over him, and hope that he will return safely home. When he was found, one thing became clear, that in that time of crisis, Fiji forgot about race. We were united by humanity. So if we can unite like that during a time of crisis, why not every day? To understand this, we must reflect back in our past. In 1879, the Indian indentured laborers arrived in Fiji under the Girmet system. They worked under a very harsh condition, yet many chose to stay back and help build this nation. At that same time, the Itoke people preserved their culture, identity, and tradition as the original custodians of this land. Two proud histories, one nation, yet our journey hasn't been easy. Events like the 1987 and the 2000 coup created divisions along the racial line. In those moments reminds us that racism can divide, can weaken a nation, but racism isn't always obvious. Sometimes it comes in small ways. A joke about someone's accent, a stereotype about someone's culture, and a comment that says you people instead of us. These small things build invisible walls that can divide a nation, and a divided nation cannot move forward. Fiji today is one of the most diverse countries in the South Pacific. We come from different cultures, religion, and backgrounds, but we share one future. That future depends on social cohesion, with trust, respect, and unity. So how do we build it? Firstly, we must confront racism. We cannot fix what we ignore. Secondly, we must educate ourselves. Learning each other's cultures, learning each other's tradition builds respect, and respect breaks prejudice. Thirdly, we must act in a classroom. Thirdly, we must act in our daily lives. Unity is built in classrooms, communities, and friendships. When we celebrate each other's culture and festivals, and when we learn from each other, when we choose kindness over division, we build a stronger Fiji. And let us remind us again about Musa's story. When he was missing, nobody asked about his race or religion. The nation simply asked, how can we help? That is the Fiji that we need. Not a Fiji united only in crisis, but a Fiji that unites every single day. My generation has the power to do that. We must not inherit division, but we must create unity. Because the ocean that surrounds us does not divide us, it connects us. A Fiji's future will not be decided by our differences, but by our courage to stand together. So let us make a promise today to make a Fiji, to build a Fiji not divided by race, but united by humanity. A Fiji where every child can proudly say, I am Fijian, this is my home, and I belong here. Thank you, Danavad and Vinakwakalevu.
Naka Sevuloni. Our next orator is Lemeki Wadokedoke. Lemeki is 22 years old and is representing himself and the Fiji National University.
Bolibunak to you all. My name is Lemek Wadokedoke. I'm originally from Dotambo Telewu and share my links to Dotambo Lewu. Today I stand before you to share this issue that affects our world and our beloved Fiji. Fiji is blessed with diversity, containing many ethnic and religious, and language and traditional. These diversity shape our national identity and it reflects our food, festival, and daily practices. Modern also recognize diversity identity, including LGBTQ community members who are part of our nation. Yet, alongside these richness challenges remain. In Fiji, racial discrimination has divided indigenous Fijian and Indo-Fijian. Let me share a story of our Indo-Fijian. A student once told me that she was excluded from her soccer team not because of his ability, because of his identity. These examples show how discrimination can create barriers and weaken our unity. Discrimination divides people, creating fear instead of trust. A society separated by prejudice cannot achieve real progress. Confronting racism begins with responsibility. Each person must examine their own bias and speak out against injustice. Even small acts of support defending a peer from hurtful remarks and creating lasting impact. Education is vital for learning about culture, religions, and identities, fosters understanding. School and communities must be safe space where diversity is celebrated and young people learn values of equality and respect. So what can we do to reduce discrimination in Fiji? First, we must promote inclusive education that celebrates both indigenous Fijian and Indo-Fijian. Second, encourage dialogue and sharing between communities to build empathy. Third, we must strengthen law and policy to ensure equal access to land, job, and opportunities. Fourth, we should empower chiefs, teachers, and youth leaders to speak against racism. Fifth, we should use media campaigns to challenge stereotypes and celebrate diversity. Sixth, we should provide safe space and support networks for marginalized people, including LGBT members. Lastly, We should encourage everyday acts of respect, such as standing up against racist jokes or exclusion. Building cohesion means creating Fiji for everyone belongs to and a safe space. Unity requires acknowledging difference, not ignoring them. Diversity is creating strength. A cohesive society is one of our mutual support, respect, and collaboration, bringing peace and a brighter future for everyone. Every person has a choice to show kindness, acceptance, and to remain divided. This time has come for change. Through respect, listening, and defending those in need, we can transform our community. Fiji reaches its full potential when every citizen receives equal treatment regardless of ethnicity, culture, and identity.
That's okay. Our next orator is Kelevi Stark. Kelevi is doing his postgrad at USP, and he's 23 years old.
Let me begin with a simple question. What does Fiji truly means to you? Is it the coconut trees? Is it the waves as it moves across our beaches? Or is it the people? Because to me, Fiji is people. A very good morning to the ladies and gentlemen, to the panel of judges, to the organizers, and to the audience. My name is Kelevi Stark. I'm a recent graduate at USP. I recently completed my Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Management, and I'm a postgraduate student, and I'm a very proud indigenous Fijian. I'm a proud Indo-Fijian too. Sorry. I remember one day when I was a school prefect at Rishikul, I was standing at the ground, and I saw two children fighting. Now, they were fighting about how or when do they belong. So they were fighting about who truly belonged in Fiji. Now, one of the child said, I am born in Fiji, so I am truly Fijian. Another child said, well, my mom and my dad, they are indigenous people, so they truly are Fijian. Now, when I was standing there, the main question that came into my head as I was watching these two children is this: should belonging to your country be a question? Should belonging to your country be something that you should be concerned about? Now I'm going to talk about, now let's put this paper here, and let's talk about facts. Let's talk about the reasons why racism is an issue in Fiji. Now the first component I'm going to talk about is colonialism. Now, I'm very happy that we were colonized because we got the education, we get so many opportunities that most of our other Western countries get. But the fact that, as one of the other orators had mentioned, in 1879, our brothers and sisters from India, they came to work in our sugarcane fields to move our economy. But the problem is, because of their system, because of the Gyrmit system, the system that divided us by culture, by race, by religion, that is the problem. The problem is not the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem is not the people. The problem is the system that has been created. And we as youths, we as custodians of our land, we must make our action. We have to. Now, I also wanted to talk about something very important that has come up in our country, and I'm very honored to have one of the commissioners for the Fiji Truth and Reconciliation Commission with us today. It is truly an important component of us moving forward. When we have the Fiji Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it allows us to accept past division. It allows us to listen to the experiences of our people, because what they have lived is something that you cannot truly forget. I am somebody who has been beaten up by my father for certain things I did, such as going to school late or not eating my lunch. But those lived experiences still ponder in my heart and still ponder in my head as a 23-year-old. I still listen and I still think about it because those words, it hurt. Because those words that they said, they wanted me to change. They wanted progress in my life. It was not because they hated me. It was because they wanted progress. Now let's just talk about solutions. Now before we talk about solution, I would like to allude to the same question that Mary, our first speaker, had mentioned. She had asked, if a cyclone hit Fiji today, is it going to ask for our ethnicity? If a cyclone or if climate change or if the sea is going to rise today, is it going to ask for ethnicity? Is the winds going to blow and they're going to ask, probably I should blow to the Indo-Fijians because their curry are too spicy. No. I think I should blow at the Yasawan people because I'm from Yasawa, so yeah. Because they're very rich. So I blow them up so that they don't have money. No. It's funny, but it's a sad reality. The issues that we face today do not choose our ethnicity. It does not choose our ethnicity in our race. It's about time that we change our perspective, change our mindset to something more inclusive and encourage diversity. Okay, so I'm closing my speech today with a simple song. It's not a song, but it's a song by a Pidgin community in Papua New Guinea, and they sing it like this. No matter you miss different, you me one people. You me celebrate law one happy family. Different sing different Danis, but you me one people. You me celebrate law one happy Pacific family. The main thing is this: we are different in our identity, we are different in our race, we are different in the way we dance, we are different in the way we sing, but we are one Pacific, one ocean. Thank you.
Our next orator is Rizal Ali Khan. Rizal is 20 years old and currently studying at the Fiji National University. A round of applause, please.
Good morning, respected judges, distinguished guests, and my fellow young people. Let me begin with a simple but a powerful truth. No child is born racist. No child enters this world hating another person because of their race, culture, or religion. Racism is something society teaches. It grows through stereotypes and it spreads through ignorance. And when left unchallenged, it slowly divides communities that were meant to live in harmony. But here in Fiji, a nation blessed with rich cultural diversity, we must ask ourselves an important question. Will racism define our future, or will unity? Fiji is a beautiful mosaic of cultures. We are Itoke, Indo-Fijians, Rotumans, Chinese, Banabans, and many others. Our languages may differ, our traditions may vary, and our beliefs may not always be the same. Yet, these differences should not divide us. In fact, they should strengthen us. Diversity is not a weakness. Diversity is the very foundation of our national identity. However, racism still exists in subtle and harmful ways, not always through loud hatred. Sometimes it appears quietly, through stereotypes, careless remarks, or assumptions about someone simply because of their race. A joke that should have never been made, a comment that makes someone feel like they do not belong, a moment that reminds someone that they are seen as different instead of equal. These moments may seem small, but their impact is powerful. Racism creates barriers where bridges should exist. It weakens trust between communities, and it threatens the social harmony that Fiji has worked so hard to build. Experience here in Fiji shows us that communities that do not support racism breaks. Experience here in Fiji shows us that schools, universities, workplaces, and neighborhoods where people do not trust adults miss opportunities to thrive, while communities that celebrate diversity are stronger, safer, and more productive. But where does racism come from? Most often it comes from ignorance, from not truly understanding one another. Yet, when people do not take out the time to learn about different cultures, tradition, and experiences, misunderstanding begins to grow. And when misunderstanding grows, it slowly divides communities to women to live in harmony. But Fiji has always had the potential to be something greater. Think about the moments when our nation comes together. When natural disasters strike, we do not ask each other about race before offering help. When our national teams compete, we stand side by side waving the same flag. In those moments, we remember something powerful. We are not divided people. We are one nation. And this is where young people must step forward, because the future of Fiji does not belong to the prejudices of the past. It belongs to us. We, the youth of this nation, have the power to shape a different future. A future where respect replaces stereotypes, curiosity replaces judgment, and diversity is celebrated rather than feared. Building social cohesion means building a society where everyone feels they belong. It means creating a community where no one is left behind. A united Fiji is not just a dream, it is a future that we can build together. And I have seen this potential firsthand in my university and community, where young people of different backgrounds work, learn, and celebrate together, proving that unity is not just possible, it is happening. Confronting racism is not only about pointing out what is wrong, it is about building trust, understanding, and unity between communities. Today, as we reflect on the importance of eliminating racial discrimination, we must remember that the future of Fiji belongs to us, we the youth of this country. Thank you so much.
This microphone keeps reminding me how short I am. I think we're going to take a quick interlude and have a dance performance, but just one really big round of applause for these young people. It is so scary to get up and speak publicly, and it's so wonderful that all of you have volunteered your time and done the research. So thank you so much for coming today. We're going to have a dance performance now from the Tandra Dance Group. So a big round of applause for them, and then again as they come on stage.
Aye, aye. Akutang
All right, our next speaker is Nafitalai Ngerewasa. Nafitalai is 20 years old and enrolled at the Fiji School of Medicine.
My mother, along with women in my village in Lau, like to weave mats called the kulasiti, a craft that's unique to my island. But when I looked closer at the process, I noticed something interesting. The kulasiti is not made from one single strand of woivoi or pandanus. The kulasiti is made from many strands woven together. Different pieces, different directions, but when they are woven together, they become strong. Strong enough to last for years. But if you were to pull one of these strands out, the whole mat begins to weaken. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji is just like that woven mat. Our different languages, our different cultures, and our different traditions are the very strands that holds this nation together. But when racism exists and it pulls these strands apart, the strength of our nation begins to unravel. Nisa Malombula, respected judges, guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow young people. Fiji is known around the world as a paradise, a place of warmth, hospitality, and the famous spirit of Mbula. But behind that glamour, behind that beauty, lies a difficult truth that we must confront. Race has often divided our society. These divisions did not appear overnight, ladies and gentlemen. The root cause of racism runs deep in Fiji. It is rooted in history. During the colonial period, people were separated socially and economically. Systems were created that placed people into different roles in society simply based on their race. And decades later, till today, ladies and gentlemen, these divisions can still echo through our society. Sometimes they appear in politics, sometimes on social media, and sometimes it appears quietly in everyday conversation through careless jokes, stereotypes, and assumptions about people simply based on their race. According to Fiji's 2017 Population and Housing Census conducted by the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, our country is home to a diverse population. Approximately 57% Itoke, 37% Indo-Fijian, and smaller communities including Rotuman, Banaban, Chinese, and other Pacific Islanders. This diversity, ladies and gentlemen, should be our greatest strength. But when racism exists, this diversity becomes a source of division rather than unity. The social and economic cost of racism is immense, ladies and gentlemen. Racism weakens trust between communities. It limits opportunities for talented people. It creates fear and misunderstanding. And remember this, a divided nation cannot reach its full potential. Let me repeat it loud and clear. A divided nation cannot reach its full potential. Fiji's diversity is not our weakness. It is one of our greatest strengths. So the challenge before us this morning is not to erase those differences. Is to allow those differences to bring us closer together instead of pushing us apart. And as young people, we play a very vital role in building a more cohesive society. We are the generation growing up in classrooms filled with diversity. We study together and we share the same dreams for our future. And as young people, we must have the courage to challenge racism when we see or hear it. The courage to question stereotypes. And the courage to form friendships across communities. Because as history has taught us, when a nation goes through its greatest challenges, unity is its greatest strength. And I ask myself a simple question every day when I think about the future. What kind of Fiji do I want my children to grow up in? I want my children to grow up in a Fiji whereby their opportunities are not determined by their race. A Fiji where they sit in classrooms filled with classmates from diverse backgrounds and see them as friends, not as strangers. A Fiji whereby our diversity is celebrated and not feared. Because the Fiji of tomorrow will be formed by the decision that we make today. And as young people, we play a very important role. By the courage that we show to stand against racism, by the kindness that we show to one another, and the friendships that we form across communities. That is the Fiji that I hope my children will inherit. That is the Fiji that we must build. And in the Fiji that we must build, everyone is welcome at the table. I repeat, the Fiji that we must build, everyone is welcome at the table. Samalo, Janevad, Shishe, Korampa, Fayexia, thank you, and Winakabakalewu.
I always wanted to be John Apted when I grew up, so we're going to go back to our IQ Active segment, and I'm going to ask another question. So raise your hand quickly. I would like to see this side of the room raise their hands. The question is, what is the name of the independent constitutional body responsible for promoting and protecting human rights and addressing discrimination in Fiji? I'll repeat the question. What is the name of the independent constitutional body responsible for promoting and protecting human rights and addressing discrimination in Fiji? I'll give you a, oh, thank you. I didn't have a hint.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Tevita. I'm with the Transformative Action Guild. Is it Fiji Human Rights Commission?
Welcome. What did you answer?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, louder?
Fiji Human Rights Commission.
This is why they didn't have me be a judge. Fiji Human Rights Commission.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you. You get a t-shirt. It's also the Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission. Well done. One more question, or do you want to head back into one more? One more. Okay, one more t-shirt. All right, our next one is, oh, it's multiple choice. Which of the following best describes unity and harmony among different communities in Fiji? A, isolation, B, competition, C, social cohesion, or D, segregation? I saw, Miss, is it ACS? No? Yes? Yes, I saw your hand first.
Hi, my name is Bridie, and the answer to that question is C, social cohesion.
Period. Well done. Bridie, you're going to be hearing from Bridie later on today. Our next speaker is Celine Tambuakuro. She is 17 years old, and she's from Yatsen Secondary School.
We all bleed red, but why must we bleed to prove it? Distinguished guest, panel of judges, and my fellow Fijians. Look around you. In this room, we are surrounded by the people who carry the blood of our ancestors, who sailed oceans, crossed mountains, and arrived on these shores with nothing but hope. We are Indo-Fijians, Ritumans, Chinese Fijians, and so much more. We are young, we are Fijian, and we are at a crossroads. Today, to celebrate the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, I want to talk about a fault line in our nation. Not in our earth, but in our hearts. I want to talk about race, and I want to talk about healing. Let's be honest. Racism in Fiji did not begin with us. It was planted. It was sown into the colonial strategy of divide and rule. A strategy that taught us that we are different, that we must compete, that we should be afraid of each other. And for the past few generations, we have inherited that fear. The root causes of racism in Fiji are historical, yes, but they are also present. They are present in the jokes we laugh at, in the stereotypes we repeat, in the neighborhoods we don't enter, and in the marriages we still question. So who drives division today? Sometimes it's leaders who use race as a ladder to power. Sometimes it's media who amplifies difference instead of commonality. Sometimes it's us who choose comfort over courage when we stay in our bubbles and we call it culture. Division doesn't always arrive with a loud voice. Sometimes it's a whisper. Stay with your own kind. And we listen. I attend Yatsen Secondary School. And in those hallways, there are students of many different backgrounds. And I've realized something. The students who are Chinese Fijian, who often speak Mandarin at home, keep to themselves. This isn't out of hostility or superiority, but it's out of comfort, because language can be a wall. It can cause discomfort and discourage them from reaching out. And the rest of us, we don't reach out either. We stick to ourselves. We assume the gap is too wide. And so that same gap persists. Nothing is solved. I've seen it in the canteen, I've seen it in group projects, I've seen it in the choices we make every day. And I've realized if unity is going to happen, it won't happen by accident, it will happen because someone decides to cross the room. Because let me tell you what this divide costs us. Everything. It costs us economically. Think of the business partnerships between Chinese Fijian entrepreneurs and other communities that never happen because of this hesitation. Think of the innovations never shared and the markets never united because of the same hesitation. Because trust was broken before it could ever grow. It cost us socially. It cost the friendship between a Fijian student and a Chinese Fijian student who share the same love for rugby. It cost the old auntie on the bus who doesn't understand the language you speak, or you don't speak a language that they understand, so you look away. And it costs us spiritually, because a nation divided cannot stand tall. A nation divided cannot win together, cannot sing together, and cannot function. How to build social cohesion? It starts with curiosity. Instead of waiting for others to explain themselves, we can ask. We can learn a phrase in others' languages. We can accept an invitation to a cultural event, or we can extend one of our own. It continues with contact. It continues by reaching out and realizing the girl in the sari and the boy in the masi both dream of a better future. We don't need to wait for politicians to unite us. We can unite ourselves in our schools, in our communities, in our friendship, and in our love. Let us be the generation that pulls racism from the root. Let us speak for unity, for equality, and for Fiji's future. Vinaka Vakalevu, Danyavad, Share, and thank you.
Our next orator is Manoa Korovulovula. Manoa is 24 years old and from the University of the South Pacific.
I grew up hearing stories that separated us, stories that told me who I could be based on the color of my skin, my name, my family. But one truth has always remained. No story, no policy, no law can define my humanity, only the choices that I make. And today, these choices begin with us, esteemed judges, respected teachers, and fellow young Fijians. Fiji is a nation of extraordinary diversity. Indigenous Fijians, Indo-Fijians, and smaller communities of Europeans, Chinese, and other Pacific Islanders coexist across our islands. This diversity is our greatest strength. Yet, history reminds us that it can also become a source of division. Colonial-era policies once segregated schools, communities, and political powers, leaving behind a legacy of mistrust that still lingers today. Even now, although 87% of Fijians live in ethnically mixed areas, subtle biases continue to shape opportunities in education, employment, and civic life. And this is where we must confront an uncomfortable truth. Racism is not just a moral issue. It carries real social and economic costs. Societies divided along racial and ethnic lines often experience weaker economic growth, slow economic growth, weaker social cohesion, and greater inequality. So the question arises, what can youth do in Fiji? How can we as youth act to build a racism-free Fiji? The answer is simple and profound, through education, dialogue, empathy, and leadership. These are not just tools, they are weapons against ignorance, prejudice, and fear. First, through education, knowledge is power. As Bell Hooks writes in Teaching to Transgress, education as a practice of freedom is the means by which we can continue to move beyond oppression and marginalization. By learning the histories, the struggles, and the contributions of all communities in Fiji, we build understanding. We see indigenous Fijians' deep connection to the land. We see Indo-Fijians' resilience in preserving culture across generations. We see the stories of smaller ethnic groups, and we see that these together form our shared Fijian identity. Stories and movies and literature remind us that understanding transforms. In Remember the Titans, young athletes from different backgrounds overcome prejudice. They learn that respect can change attitude. They learn that together they can change communities. And they learn that teamwork can change the world around them. Second, through dialogue and interaction. True unity begins with conversation. In Fiji, youth forums, community projects, and cultural exchange programs create safe spaces for honest discussion. Your presence here today, your willingness to listen and speak is a step towards understanding and change. By speaking and by listening, we challenge assumptions. By speaking and by listening, we break cycles of mistrust. Nelson Mandela wrote in Long Walk to Freedom, and I quote, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Dialogue allows us to reach both the mind and the hearts of our peers. It helps us to see common humanity across our ethnic lines. Third, through leadership and action. Youth must step into leadership roles, not wait for permission. Leadership can be as simple as organizing a multicultural event in school, joining a youth council, or advocating for policies that support inclusivity and equity. Globally, leaders like Marcus Garvey, the Jamaican political activist, showed generations that youth activism can reshape societies. Even in popular culture, Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games reminds us that one voice, used courageously, can spark collective action and challenge injustice. Finally, we must question our own biases. As Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie writes in Americana, the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but they are incomplete. They make one story become the only story. To build a racism-free Fiji, we must recognize the incomplete stories in our minds and in our hearts, confront them, and actively seek to see the full truth of others' experiences. Fellow young Fijians, the choice is clear. We can allow old divisions, fear, misunderstanding, and prejudice to persist, or we can allow courage, dialogue, and empathy and leadership. Every day, people like you and me walk past each other. Some see color first before humanity. But imagine if we saw differently. Imagine if we saw each other not as different, but as part of the same story. That could be Fiji's story. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "The time is always right to do what is right." Barack Obama reminds us, change will not come if you wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones you've been waiting for. But perhaps one of the most important reminders comes from one of my favorite childhood films, The Lorax. Unless someone like you cares a awful whole lot, things aren't going to get better. They're not. Plant the seed in the middle of the town where everyone can see. Change the way things are. I know that it's small and insignificant, but it's not about what it is, it's about what it can become. That's not just a seed any more than you're just a boy. That seed is not in the soil. It's in our courage, it's in our voices, and it's in our actions. Nothing will change unless we care, unless we act, unless we stand together. So let us rise. Let us stand together. Let us build a Fiji where every voice matters, every community belongs, and every culture is respected. Because that future will only exist unless if we make it so. Thank you, and Vinakwa Kalevu.
Our next orator is Inaya Gounder. Inaya is 20 years old and from the University of the South Pacific.
Who am I? It sounds like a simple question, but for most of my childhood, I did not know the answer. My name is Inaya Gounder. My father is Indo-Fijian, and my mother is Itauke. 2 cultures, 2 histories, 2 identities. But growing up in Fiji, people did not see that as something beautiful. They saw it as something that needed to be chosen. Choose which side you belong to. Choose which culture matters more. Choose which half of yourself you're willing to leave behind. And that is the problem we confront today. A society that forces identity to divide instead of allowing it to unite. When people looked at my father, they didn't see a man. They saw a stereotype. Indian, curry muncher, thief. When they looked at my mother, they didn't see a woman. They saw another stereotype. Poor, monkey, lazy. And when they looked at my siblings and I, they saw something that didn't fit their boxes. They called us half-breeds. They called us abominations, children who did not belong anywhere. So I learned something very young. Belonging was not something you were given, it was something you had to earn. I grew up speaking English, but I know Fiji Hindi and the Itauke language, yet language became something I had to hide. I never spoke Hindi around my Itauke friends, and I never spoke Fijian around my Indo-Fijian friends, because I had learned the rules of survival. Blend in, stay quiet, do not make people feel uncomfortable. Even something as simple as filling out a form became confusing. I stared at the boxes, Indo-Fijian, Itauke, but there was never a box for both. Imagine an 8-year-old girl looking at the mirror, and every morning she's deciding which version of herself she should use today. Imagine putting on identity as a mask, switching it and hiding the other in your pocket. You did this just to make people feel comfortable. That is what racism does. It's not always through violence, it's not always through laws, but sometimes through quiet words, quiet assumptions, quiet attitudes that slowly teach you that you might be too complicated for the world around you. These divisions did not begin with my generation. My grandfather, Aquila Yambaki, stood against the coups that tore this country apart, and his reward? His people turned their backs on him, isolated, hated for showing love to Indo-Fijians. My father's family fled Fiji entirely, not as strangers, but as people who have lived here for generations, driven out of fear. And my father stayed. He was never called Fijian again, only as other, only as Indian. So when my parents chose each other, an Itauke mother, an Itauke man, whose family had been separated, cast out, that was not just a marriage. That was an act of defiance against everything that has tried to divide them. And I am that result of that defiance. Fiji was never built by one community alone. It has always been built by many cultures, many histories, many identities woven together. I am Indo-Fijian, I am Itauke, I speak different languages, I carry different cultures, and none of those identities cancel each other out. They strengthen them. My identity is not half of anything, it is the full story of Fiji itself. But racism is not something children are born with. It is something they are taught through stereotypes, through silence, through fear. But if hatred can be taught, so can understanding. I think about the younger kids growing up mixed like me, still staring at those forms, still switching masks. So I made the decision. I stopped hiding. I speak Hindi with my Itauke friends. I speak Fijian with my Indo-Fijian friends. And when younger kids come and ask me where I belong, what's my culture, I say I'm from everywhere. Because the most powerful thing about our generation is that we refuse to model the shame that was modeled to us. If we show younger children that mixed identity is something to stand tall in, we break the cycle at its root. So perhaps the question we should not ask is, who am I? But instead, who are we becoming as a nation? Will we remain prisoners of the divisions we inherited, or will we fully build a Fiji where identity is not something to hide, but something to celebrate? A Fiji where a child can stand in front of the mirror, look at every part of who they are, and feel pride instead of confusion. Because after years of asking this question, who am I know the answer. I am not a contradiction. I am not half of anything. I am a bridge. And if Fiji is brave enough, we can become a nation of bridges too. Thank you.
Our next orator is Amelia Songonatambua. Amelia is 22 years old and from the Fiji National University.
Confronting racism and building unity. Good morning, everyone. Today, I stand before you to speak about something that still exists in our country, in our community, and in our hearts. Racism is not always allowed. It doesn't always come in a form of hate speech or violence. Sometimes it's quiet. The inside jokes, assumptions, stereotypes, and the way we treat people who look, speak, or live differently from us. But ignoring racism does not make it disappear. Racism creates division. It tells people they are less than, and not because of who they are, but because of where they come from, the color of their skin, and their culture. It breaks confidence and opportunities and damages the very foundation of unity in our society. Here in Fiji, we are so blessed with diversity. We are a nation of many culture, tradition, and languages. This diversity is not a weakness, it's a sign of strength. And it can only shine when we listen and learn and connect. The truth is, racism comes often from the lack of understanding. We don't take time to learn about others. We begin to assume, and assumption turns into judgment. But when we listen, we learn from them. So how do we confront racism? First, we must start with ourselves. We need to check our own thoughts, our own minds. Are we treating people equally? Are we judging them because of their colors, of their skin, or their language? And secondly, we must speak up. Silence is sometimes support injustice. When we hear a racist comment or unfair treatment, we must have the courage to say, this is not right, and not just stand there. When we see someone treat someone differently because of their color, we should say, this is not right. Yes, it may seem uncomfortable sometimes, but it is necessary for the change we are doing right now. And finally, we must choose unity. Unity does not mean we have to be all the same, but we show respect and value our differences. It means standing together, supporting one another, and building a future where everybody is seen and respected. Let us remember that everyone has dignity, everyone has value, and every person deserves respect. If we want a better future, we cannot wait for others. We must be the change. In our homes, in our school, in our communities, let us choose kindness over judgment, and love over fear, and unity over division. Because at the end of the day, we are not so different after all. We all hope, we all dream, and we all want to belong. Let us build a country where no one is judged by their race, but valued for who they are. Vinaka wakalevu.
Okay, it's time for our quiz to continue. So I'm going to ask the questions. We've got the mics ready. The question, and this is going to show us who was listening when Archana spoke earlier. On what date is the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination observed each year? Okay. Angeline in the red coat.
So that means I don't have to introduce myself, right?
You do.
Bulunaka, my name is Angeline Tukitonga, and the answer to your question is 21st of March. It's tomorrow.
A+. Good job. You get a t-shirt. And our second question for this segment is a little bit harder. Has Fiji ratified the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination? And if so, in which year? Should I repeat it? Has Fiji ratified the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination? And if so, in which year? You are on fire today, yes. Can we get a mic over here?
Yes, Fiji has signed and ratified 1973.
You have 2 t-shirts, well done. We're going to jump right back into it. Our next orator is Tajiran Chaudhry. And Tajiran is actually here from Nandi, I believe. He is 15 years old and from Champs International School. So a big round of applause, please. And he is a naturalized citizen of Fiji, but he is of Bangladeshi origin. I think also, based on from what I can see here, he is our youngest orator today, so big round of applause for that.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, and my fellow peers. Today I'll be speaking on the role of the youth in building social cohesion. Social cohesion is not really a complicated concept if we think about it. It simply means bringing people together and about creating a society where individuals feel respected, connected, and included, regardless of their background, cultural ethnicity, and their religion. In a diverse country like Fiji, this is not just important, it is essential. Because diversity can either become our greatest strength or our greatest division. And what determines that outcome is not our differences, but how we respond to them. And that responsibility is what I believe strongly lies within the youth. Young people interact with each other every single day, in classrooms, on sports fields, in communities, and especially online. These everyday interactions may seem very small, but they shape the way societies function. In every moment, we are making choices that either bring people closer or they might push them apart. Take sports as an example. On a football field, players come from different cultural ethnicities and backgrounds. But when they start playing on the game and when the game starts, they all share the same goal and all have the same teamwork and effort they need to put, regardless of their cultural ethnicity or religion. Now consider culture. In schools and communities, cultural events allow people to share traditions through food, music, and celebrations. These experiences do more than entertain. They educate, they allow young people to see beyond their own perspective and understand others. But in today's world, there is another space where the role of youth is even more powerful: the digital world. Social media gives young people a voice. With just one post or one message or just even a simple comment, we can influence others. We can spread negativity and division, or the better thing is we can promote positivity and unity. However, building social cohesion is not always easy. There are still challenges such as stereotypes, discrimination, and exclusion in our societies in Fiji. They must have the courage to speak up when something is wrong, and we always have to stand against discrimination, to include those who always feel excluded in schools, in communities, in villages, that always don't have the opportunity that everyone else has just because of their religion, their cultural discrimination, and all these kind of things needs to be taken care of. Because leadership is not really defined by our age or our positions. It is defined by the action we take as young individuals. The truth is, building social cohesion does not require something extraordinary. It begins with simple choices, which can be choosing to include instead of exclude. Choices also can be choosing to listen instead of judge others. Choices can be choosing respect over prejudice. These choices may seem small, but even when practiced consistently, they create a powerful impact in our communities. So the real question is, will we choose to do this? Because if the youth choose unity over division, understanding over judgment, and respect over prejudice, then the future of Fiji will not just be united, it will be unbreakable. Thank you.
Our next orator is Lenaitasi Chaleng Udake, and he is 25 years old and employed in Nandi.
Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Gentile. There is neither slave nor free. There is neither male nor female. In Christ Jesus, you are all one. This powerful message serves as a reminder that in the eyes of God, we are all equal. Yet, in our society today, many of us are still divided by race, culture, and backgrounds. The honorable judges, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and to the future leaders of tomorrow, Bula Vinaka, and good morning to you all. Based on the theme, Confronting Racism and Building Social Cohesion in Fiji, I have developed a topic titled, Unity in Diversity, the Strength of Fiji. Unity in Diversity, the Strength of Fiji. Fiji is a beautiful nation blessed with wide variety of cultures, languages, and traditions. Itoke, Indo-Fijians, Rotumans, Banabans, and many other communities live together on these islands we proudly call our home. Our diversity should be our greatest strength. However, when racism and prejudice take root, they create division where there should be unity. In our beloved nation, racism often begins with misinformation and ignorance. Many of us grow up hearing misconceptions about other communities rather than learning about our own stories. Past political conflicts and historical events have sometimes left scars that still affect how we view each other. Therefore, division develops when misunderstanding and fear guide our actions. Division is frequently encouraged by those who benefit from separation, whether through politics, misinformation, or harmful narratives on social media. When voices of division grow louder than voices of unity, society begins to fracture. But the solution is simple: choose to promote respect rather than prejudice. Racism has actual repercussions in addition to being a social issue. Communities that mistrust one another lose opportunities and businesses. Cooperation deteriorates and social progress slows. Children will grow up in environments where friendship and trust are being replaced with fear and suspicion. A nation divided by prejudice will never reach its full potential. I currently work in the hospitality industry, where I have the privilege of serving and meeting people from different nations, ethnicity, and backgrounds. I interact with guests from all around the world and from other parts of Fiji. These experiences have made me appreciate the true beauty of diversity. It has been amazing to listen to their stories, learn about their cultures, and see how people from different walks of life can connect through simple acts of kindness and respect. These moments remind me that diversity is not something to fear, but something to celebrate. To each and every youth present here today, we have the power to shape the future. We can challenge stereotypes, speak out against injustice, and build friendships across cultural lines. Know that our actions today, even small acts of kindness, love, respect, and inclusion, can inspire a whole lot of generation. If people from different nations can travel across oceans and sit at the same table in our beautiful nation, share a meal in peace and friendship, then surely we as Fijians can stand together as one people. Racism divides, but unity builds. Respect bridges gaps, and understanding replaces fear. As a proud son of Fiji, I pledge to uphold the honor of every Fijian, to confront racism and build social cohesion. Vinaka Vakalevu.
परदेसी हमार आयो बाबूजी बनके परदेसी
Our next orator is Bridie Maisamoa. Bridie is 16 years old and she is from ACS.
The chief guests, distinguished guests, respective panel of judges, audience, and my fellow orators, a very good morning to you all. It is an honor for me to stand before you today and advocate on the title of my speech, Youths, the Builders of a Cohesive Society. Nelson Mandela once said, and I quote, "It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it," unquote. These powerful words by Nelson Mandela reminds us that the future of our society does not depend solely on leaders and government. It lies in the hands of ordinary people, especially the youth who have the passion, creativity, and courage to shape a better tomorrow. Today, I stand before you to address an important question. What roles can young people play in building a more cohesive society? Well, firstly, a cohesive society is one where people feel connected, valued, and united despite their differences. In such society, diversity is not feared, but it is celebrated, and individuals work together for the common good. For a diverse nation like Fiji, social cohesion is especially important. Our country is home to people of many cultures, traditions, and beliefs. We celebrate festivals such as Diwali, Easter, and Eid al-Fitr. And through these festivals, we see the beauty of our diversity. But unity does not happen automatically. It must be built through understanding and respect. Young people have the power to strengthen this unity in 3 important ways. 1, by promoting encouragement. 2, encouraging inclusion. And 3, leading through positive action. Firstly, is on how young people can promote understanding and respect among different cultures. Many conflicts in society arise from misunderstanding or prejudice. When people fail to understand each other's traditions or cultures, division can grow. However, young people have the ability to break down these barriers. By learning about different cultures, respecting traditions, and appreciating diversity, youths can build stronger connections between communities. When young people choose curiosity over judgment, diversity does not become a source of division. Instead, it becomes a source of strength. Secondly, young people can build a more cohesive society by encouraging inclusion. A truly cohesive society is one where everyone feels they belong. Unfortunately, some people still feel excluded because of their background, social status, or personal indifferences. Young people can change this through simple yet powerful actions. In school, neighborhoods, and communities, we can include those who feel left out. We can stand up against bullying, support those who are struggling, and show kindness to those who feel invisible. These small acts of kindness will help us build communities where every individual feels respected and valued. Finally, young people must lead to positive action. A cohesive society is not only built through words, but it is also built through action. Young people can contribute by participating in community services, helping during times of need, and working together to improve our communities. Some examples are when young people volunteer to help clean beaches, assist communities after natural disasters, or participate in environmental projects. These small activities bring people together for a shared purpose. Through service and cooperation, young people can inspire others and strengthen the threads that hold our community together. Ladies and gentlemen, building a cohesive society is not the responsibility for one person or for one group. It is the responsibility of all of us. Yet, the youths hold a special role because we represent the future of our nation. So if young people choose understanding over prejudice, inclusion over exclusion, and action over indifference, we can build a society based on unity, respect, and cooperation. But let us please remember that cohesion does not mean erasing our differences. Instead, it means we embrace our diversity while working together towards a shared future. And as Nelson Mandela reminded us, the power to create a better world truly lies in our hands. So let us rise as the generation that build bridges instead of barriers. Because when young people lead with purpose, courage, empathy, a more cohesive society is not just possible, it becomes a reality. Thank you, Vinakvakalevu and Dinyavat.
Dr. Aquila Yambaki, who is here today, he is a champion of human rights, and I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge him being here today. Thank you so much for being here, sir. At last year's event, Mr. Yambaki actually shared and spoke, and it was extremely moving and extremely inspiring. Having said that, this is also just a quick reminder that the entire competition is going to be telecast on MyTV, so a delayed broadcast on MyTV, so you guys can make sure that you check that out. Also, the live stream is currently happening over on the Dialogue Fiji Facebook page, so feel free to head on over there and share that link as well. We're going to head straight back into it. Our next orator is Racheli Tale. Racheli is 20 years old and is a student of USP Nandi. So, Dolavina Racheli, it's all yours.
One blood, one nation. The courage to confront racism in Fiji. Someone in this room has been called something because of their race. Don't look away, because that someone right now is you. I am Tale, I am Itoke, I am 20 years old. And I am tired of pretending that Fiji is fine. The root of our racism was planted before we were born. The British came in 1874. They took our land. Then they brought 60,000 Indian men and women in chains of indenture, separated them from us by law, by land, by design. They built the wall, they left, and we kept building it. Who drives it now? Politicians who say your name only at election time. Elders who whisper, don't marry outside race. Classrooms where we sit by race without anyone telling us to. Social media that turns difference into abomination. We are not only victims of history, we are sometimes the ones choosing division. Today, right now in 2026. And what does it cost us? Everything. Indo-Fijians left by the hundreds of thousands, teachers, doctors, farmers, because they did not feel safe in the country of their birth. Our brightest minds chose Auckland over Suva. Our sugar industry collapsed. And the child who grows up learning to fear the child next door, that child grows into a leader who governs with fear instead of love. But here is the truth that cannot be solved by one speech, one law, one leader. Racism lives inside us. It hides us in joke we laugh at, in assumptions we make at a glance, in silence when we should speak. No government can legislate that out of a human heart. No court can order someone to see another person's humanity. That is the wound no policy can fully heal. So what can we do? Choose truth over comfort. Teach every child. Itoke, Indo-Fijian, Rotuman, Banaban, Pat-European, Chinese Fijian, Polynesian Fijian, our history. Not versions of it, all of it. The pain and the beauty together. Choose presence over pride. Sit with someone different. Eat their foods. When they learn their words, not for a school project, for a friendship that lasts. Choose courage over silence. When the joke is made, stop it. When the decision is racial, name it. When the politician divides, refuse them your vote. Fiji can be the Pacific proof that it is possible. That brown and brown and brown, different shades, different temples, different tongues, can build one nation together. That the Pacific is not just beautiful waters, it is strong people choosing each other together. And if Fiji can do it, the world is watching. My name is Tale, I am Itoke. I did not choose my race, none of us did. But I choose every single day to see yours. That choice, that one small daily defiant choice, that is how we end racism. Not with law, not with a speech, with a choice. Vinakvakalevu, Fafitelasi, Danyavad. Thank you and God bless Fiji.
Which of the following actions helps reduce racism? A, spreading stereotypes. B, encouraging dialogue and understanding. C, ignoring discrimination. D, promoting exclusion. Wait, everybody hands down and then hands up when I look up. D, promoting exclusion. In the front here, blue and white. Yes, right there.
Hi, I am Wilma, and the answer to the question is B.
Well done. Our second question, remember, when I look up, then raise your hands. Who can play a role in eliminating racial discrimination? A, governments only. B, NGOs only. C, individuals only. Or D, everyone. Hey, that was fast. Okay, I saw her arm in the far right. You with the flower. I've got another one, Archana, I've got another one on here as well. Okay.
B.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Loata,
Hi,
and the answer is B.
Well done. Good job. Round of applause for Loata, please. Okay, our next orator is Nirav Prayant Ram. Nirav is 17 years old and came all the way from Korvuto College in Nandi.
The British divided us, and we were divided for so long that it became unspoken law. But we are better than this. We must be better, not just for ourselves, but for our children, for our families, and for Fiji. The honorable panel of judges, fellow orators, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow Brew Fijians, Nisam Bulavinaka to you all. The socio-economic cost of racism has been heavy on all of us. People have lost faith in our nation and its institutions. Remittances, the money that our aunties and uncles send from abroad, now make up 10 to 15% of our GDP. This means that Fiji is exporting its people and importing their wages. We are sending our skills abroad while the dependency stays at home. The sugar industry, once the backbone of our economy, now makes up only a mere 10% of our exports, down from its highs of 40%. This has been a result of the ethnic tension between our groups. As Indo-Fijian farmers do not wish to invest in land they might lose, and Itauke landowners could not capitalize on land they could not sell. Both communities lost, and all Fijians have been paying the price for the past 50 years. My brothers and sisters, the British believed in divide and conquer. We were divided, given separate institutions, given separate economic systems, and made to compete against one another for the same slice of cake. We inherited the system that is designed to keep us apart, and by maintaining it, we are not protecting our communities, we are not preserving our culture, we are honoring a broken system that was never designed for our benefit. Fellow countrymen, in my college, Korvuto College, we have no racism. We all talk, play, walk, and study together. Even if possible, we'd even sleep together. Because we have nothing but genuine love, respect, and care for another. We are one. We live in the same country. We breathe the same air. We stand on the same ground. Then why do we seek to pull each other down? We should lend another one of us hands. We should pull each other up. The youth do it already in school and walk. So why can't all of us? And once all of us do it, we will become unstoppable. The rugby that is played in our country unites us all. Whether it's the sevens or the Fijian Rua. We go to Churchill Park, we go to the National Stadium, we cheer and drink some Yongona together and have fun. Because that's when we are one, in our collective love for the game. We are not black, we are not brown, we are not white. We all are blue, proud blue Fijians, because the color blue does not have ethnicity. So I ask you, what does our faith, our religion tell us? In the Bible, one of the 10 commandments is to love thy neighbor. It does not say to love thy Indian neighbor. It doesn't say to love thy European neighbor. It doesn't say to love thy Ethiopian neighbor. It says to love thy neighbor because all of us are created in the image of God. The Prophet Muhammad in his final sermon to over 100,000 people stated that no Arab has superiority over a non-Arab, no non-Arab over an Arab, no black person over a white person, and no white person over a black person. This was not a suggestion, it was an instruction, one delivered 1,400 years ago. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita stated the soul has no caste, no ethnicity, no nationality. Because these are attributes of the body, the soul is identical across all human beings, regardless of where they are born. 3 faiths, 3 traditions, and 3 different journeys to these islands, but the truth remains the same. And I ask, why are we so slow to live it? Fellow countrymen, we have proven we can work together. We just have to make it permanent. You have to make it our mindset, our default, our identity. Fellow youth, the ball is in our court. The fault lines of the nation were not created by us. We have the choice now to either entrench them or erase them. I ask, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? Let us march forth and be the masters of our fate and make a future for us all that we wish to live. Thank you.
Our next orator is Axel Kayembe Kilambe. She is 20 years old and she is a student at the University of the South Pacific.
Good morning, everyone. Today I will speak as someone that moved from one country to another, from a complete different continent. I went to an Indian school. I have nothing bad to say. I was included. My friends are sitting all the way there. They're all Fijians. I have Indian friends. I have European friends. I have Asian friends. So I want to talk about how important it is to include and feel included. My title is Why We Still Divided? Moving Beyond Tolerance to True Unity. I ask again, why we still divided? Let me start with a short story. 2 children sat together at lunch. One opened a container of curry, and the other unwrapped cassava. They laughed, they swapped lunch. For them, they didn't think about who they were. Their friendship was natural. But one day, during an argument, one said something they had heard before, something about race. The laughter stopped, not because they were different, but because they thought they were different. And that is the truth we don't always want to face. No one is born racist. Division is learned. And if division is learned, inclusion can also be learned. There is a saying and a quote, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Fiji has many cultures, many traditions, many identities. That is our beauty. But somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing diversity as strength and started seeing it as difference. Let me ask you, why? Part of it comes from our past. Communities lived separately, went to different schools, stayed within their own communities. Over time, distance created misunderstanding. And when we don't know each other, we start to assume things about each other. Another reason is fear. Fear of being judged, Fear of being left out, I felt it when I first came to JNRM. Fear of losing identity. But let me ask you this. What are we really afraid of? If we call Fiji home, do you get scared when you're at home? Because the truth is, we want the same things. We want respect. We want opportunities. We want a better future. There's another proverb that says, a single stick can smoke, but it will not burn. Many sticks together create a strong fire, and it's unstoppable. Fiji cannot move forward if we move separately. And this is where youth come in. We are the generation that sits in the same classroom, plays the same fields, cross through the same phones. We interact more than before. We have a choice. We can repeat the divisions we inherited, or we can break them. Unity doesn't start with big speeches or policies. It starts small. It starts when you sit next to someone different from you. My friends sat with me when I was different from them. And when you listen instead of judging, when you ask questions instead of making assumptions, it starts with us. Because we are not just leaders of tomorrow. We are the bridge builders of today. Inaya mentioned it in her speech. But we must understand something important. Tolerance is not enough. Tolerance says, I accept you, that you are there. But unity says, I value you, I accept you, and I stand with you. And Fiji deserves unity because our diversity is not weakness. It is our greatest strength. Different languages, different cultures, different traditions, but one nation. So I ask you again, why are we still divided? And more importantly, why should we stay divided? If children can share food without seeing race, then we can learn to share our future without division. Let us not just tolerate one another. Let us understand. Let us respect. Let us unite. Because in the end, it is not us. It's not them. It is all of us. One people, one nation, one future. As the national anthem says, stand united, we are Fiji. Fame and glory ever. Onward march together. God bless Fiji. Thank you.
Our next orator is Wilma Jamie Mafi. She answered one of the questions correctly earlier. And she is 16 years old and she goes to Bawani Dayal Arya College.
Respected judges, guests, audiences, and fellow orators, let me begin my speech with a simple question. Have you ever felt judged before by someone before they even got to know you? Maybe because of your culture, the name that you carry, or the way you look? Unfortunately, some people go through these judgments daily, and it has become their reality. And this reality is called racism. Fiji is a well-known island country for its beautiful islands that holds much happiness and the hospitality shown by its people. Tourists and visitors come to our islands and are greeted with warm smiles and the word bula, or as they would like to describe it, the big bula smile, everywhere they go. They see our beautiful beaches, our welcoming communities, and our vibrant culture. But behind this picture-perfect image, we must ask ourselves this very important question. Are we truly as united as we appear to be? What is happening to our Fiji? Fiji is a well-known island country for its culturally diverse nation in the Pacific. Our island country is home to Itoke people, Indo-Fijians, Rotumans, and many other cultures who have made these islands their home. Each culture brings unique traditions, beliefs, culture, food, and perspective. And this diversity should be one of our most greatest strengths. But sometimes, instead of embracing and celebrating these differences, we allow them to divide us. These actions may seem small and harmless, but they can have a big impact on an individual. They create distance between people, they weaken trust amongst communities, and they prevent us from building a truly united nation. For an island country like Fiji, unity is not just important, it is essential. This is where the idea of social cohesion comes in. Social cohesion means that people from different backgrounds feel connected, respected, and included in society. It means that despite our differences, we support one another and work together to improve our nation. So how do we confront racism and build stronger cohesion in Fiji? First, it begins with understanding. Many times people fear or judge what they do not understand. When we learn about other cultures, we begin to appreciate their values and traditions. School plays an important role in this. In our classrooms, students from different backgrounds sit side by side every day. It is not just an opportunity for them to learn about subjects like maths and science. It is an opportunity for them to learn about each other. Second, we must practice respect. Respect means recognizing that every person and every culture has value. A simple act of kindness or respect can break barriers that prejudice has built. Third, we must have courage to speak up. If we hear a racist joke or see someone being treated unfairly, staying silent will allow the problem to continue. Speaking up may seem uncomfortable, but it shows integrity and leadership. And finally, the responsibility lies with us, the younger generation. We are future leaders of Fiji. The friendships that is built across cultures today can shape the future of our nation tomorrow. When students from different backgrounds learn together, support one another, and respect one another, we create a foundation for a more united society. At the end of the day, we all share the same homes, same islands, same schools, and same hopes for a better future. Imagine a Fiji where every person feels respected, valued, and included in society. A Fiji where differences are celebrated instead of feared. A Fiji where unity is stronger than prejudice. That is the Fiji we must work together to build. So let us confront racism whenever we see it. Let us learn from one another and respect one another. And let us strengthen the social bonds that unite our society. Because Fiji is not just a collection of islands. Fiji is one people, one nation, and one shared future. Thank you, Vinakavakalevu and Danyavad.
Our next orator is Joy Kunanitu. Joy is 16 years old and attends Anditha Kombao School. Can we have a round of applause for Joy, please?
The chief guest, distinguished guests, the panel of judges, the audience, and my fellow orators. Good afternoon to you all. As already mentioned by Madam MC, my name is Joy Kunanitu, and I am a student of Anditha Kombao School. Youths are not just the future. They are the present force for unity and change. Have you wondered who will shape the future of our society? Who will build bridges where walls once stood? The answer is simple: young people. Young people are seeds of tomorrow planted in the soil of today. If these seeds are nurtured with kindness, understanding, and responsibility, they will grow into strong trees that shelter everyone in society. This is why the role of youths in building a cohesive society is more important than ever. Firstly, young people promote unity and respect. In a world sometimes divided by race, religion, or culture, youths can be the threads that weave the fabrics of society together. When we respect others and celebrate our differences, we make our communities stronger. Like a rainbow made of many colors, society becomes even more beautiful when diversity is embraced. Therefore, we must be the ones, you and me. We must be the ones to reach the other aisle and show them that our generation does not see the other, but rather we see a friend. Secondly, young people can stand up against discrimination and injustice. When we see unfair treatment, we must not remain silent. As the saying goes, silence speaks louder than words. Our voices may be young, I understand, but they are powerful and they are full of promise. So by speaking out for fairness, that will help us build a cohesive society where everyone fits in. Moving on, youths play a role in community service and leadership. Helping a neighbor, volunteering, or participating in community activities may seem small. They may seem small to you. But you must remember that even small drops of water create a mighty ocean. Every positive action adds strength and unity to society. We lead not just by our words. We cannot do that. But we lead by our hands-on commitment to making our neighborhoods a better place for everyone. Conclusively, I want us to think about our home, our Fiji. We are an island nation, and we know that the only way forward is by paddling together. We are the architects of a new kind of village. Not a village where we just live side by side, but a village where we can fully trust and depend on one another. Our best tool is talanoa, a simple way of sitting down, sharing our stories, and truly listening to each other. Let's be the generation that builds bridges instead of walls. Let's create a Fiji where everyone, no matter who they are, feels heard, respected, and like they truly belong. Vinakavakalevu, and thank you.
Our next orator is Aditi Astanath. Aditi is 17 years old and is a student at Bhavani Dayal Arya College. A big round of applause for her, please.
I quote, "We all bleed the same, we all dream the same, so why do we still divide ourselves by race?" Unquote. Distinguished guests, respected judges, and my fellow citizens, good afternoon to you all. Today I speak on a topic that is both sensitive and important, confronting racism and building social cohesion in Fiji. Fiji is renowned globally for its stunning islands, welcoming inhabitants, and the warm essence of Bula. Tourists see Fiji as a paradise where people live happily together. But as citizens of Fiji, we know that our history has been shaped by racial division and distrust. I stand before you today not to indict anyone, but to highlight how racism can weaken the foundation of our beautiful nation. We need to know where these issues came from and how we can solve them if we want a brighter future for Fiji. One of the main root causes of racism in Fiji goes back to colonial history after cession of Fiji to Britain. The British created divisions by governing Itoke Fijians through traditional systems while bringing Indians under Girmit indentured labor system. Many remained after, forming separate communities, and these divisions laid the foundation for lasting racial tensions. Another important issue that has contributed to tension is land ownership. In Fiji, most of the land is owned by indigenous Fijians. Many Indo-Fijian families are depending on leased land for farming and housing. When these leases expire, it can create insecurity and conflict. Political events have also increased racial divisions. Fiji has experienced several coups in its history, including those in 1987 and 2000, which were often connected to ethnic tensions and fears about political power. According to Ratuva 2005, in a Fijian political system, in a Fijian studies journal stated that political systems often reinforced ethnic identities rather than a shared national identity. As a result, mistrust between communities grew. However, racism does not just happen on its own. It is driven by people and situations that push us apart. Sometimes, political leaders play on our differences to win support. Other times, false misleading information spreads online and it shapes how we think. And often, people repeat the stereotypes they grew up hearing without stopping to ask if they are really true. The price of racism is very high. Economically, division can discourage investment and development when individuals are denied opportunities based on their ethnicities rather than merit. Country loses valuable talent and productivity. According to UNDP 2014, inclusive societies are more economically stable and prosperous. Socially, the effects of racism are more destructive. Racism weakens relationships, creates panic and misunderstanding, and it prevents people from working together. Instead of appreciating the rich diversity of cultures in Fiji, racism turns those differences into barriers. But the good news is that racism is not something that we lose against. It can be reduced when people choose understanding, respect, and cooperation. To strengthen trust and unity in Fiji, schools must promote a shared national identity. By learning about each other's cultures and celebrating events like Diwali, Holi, Eid, Christmas, and other ceremonies, students develop respect, appreciation, and pride in the nation's diversity. Clear and transparent communication helps build trust and prevent misunderstandings. When people listen to each other's experiences and perspectives, it becomes easier to overcome stereotypes. According to UNDP 2020, youth engagement helps build a more inclusive and equal society. Young people have the opportunity to build friendships that go beyond ethnic differences. Young people in Fiji use social media to promote unity, celebrate diversity, and oppose discrimination. By choosing respect and inclusion today, they can help create a future where we see each other as friends and everyone feels valued and appreciated. Let us learn from our history, but not let it divide us. Let us reject racism in our actions and attitudes, because together we can confront racism, together we can build social cohesion, and together we can create a better Fiji. Thank you.
If we can just have another round of applause for all the orators that have spoken today so far. As a child that was not athletically inclined, extracurricular activities like oratory contests and debate team really were a huge part of shaping who I was. So I really do commend all of you for taking the time to research. All of your topics and your speeches have been so well researched. So once again, congratulations on competing, and well done. Also, Archana wanted me to mention the Mbale Rotuma family and Tandra Dance, who performed for us earlier, and how beautiful it is that both performances and performers were able to really showcase the beauty and diversity of Fiji, and how beautiful it is that we're so ethnically diverse. So big vinaka vakalevu to them as well. We're going to do 2 questions and then head on to the next orators. Are you guys ready? Okay. The question is, what is one way that workplaces can promote equality? A, hiring based on race or ethnicity. B, hiring based on merit, regardless of race or background. C, hiring only within certain communities. Or D, hiring based on personal bias. In the very back there, in the beautiful orange chamba.
B.
Yes, ma'am. You correct. The second question for this round is, what is the main purpose of the right to equality in law. To treat some groups differently, A. B, to ensure that all individuals are treated fairly and equally. C, to prioritize certain communities. Or D, to limit freedoms. Ma'am with the black dress on, yes. Keep your hand up. Yeah, that's you. And just introduce yourself really quick too.
My name is Tima, and
Tima.
I'm here with the NYC.
Naka.
The answer is B.
Congratulations, you get a t-shirt. Round of applause for Tima, please. Okay, we've had our break. We're going straight back into it. Our next orator is Aaron Prasad, and Aaron is, I think today, the person that has come the farthest. He's 16 years old, and he has traveled from Xavier College in Ba, so big round of applause to him.
A single thread can easily be broken, but 1,000 threads woven together create a fabric that can weather any storm. Today, the question is, should we survive as a single thread, or should we shape the future of Fiji, which is unbreakable? Before I begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the esteemed panel of judges, the guest of honor, to my fellow opponent speakers, and for Dialogue Fiji and its organizers for providing me this vital platform today. And a very good afternoon to you all. This year's theme, Confronting Racism and Building Social Cohesion in Fiji. It acts as a call to address the historical ethnic divisions while actively creating a more unified Fiji. Some problems faced by discrimination are, firstly, it affects trust between communities. Secondly, social exclusion. Many individuals become socially isolated due to racism. When social walls are built, communication falls. When dialogue stops, conflicts rise. Racism just doesn't affect people, it destroys entire communities. The roots of racism were not planted by us, but by the colonial divide and rule. They used tactics of separating us into different plantations and villages, ensuring we would see each other as rivals rather than neighbors. The younger generation should realize we're still living in the house designed to keep us apart, and we must tear down the colonial walls that once held them. Today, social media is where unchecked information and media sources drive racism into Fiji. These platforms use algorithms to monetize the fear of politics, to make our own neighbors strangers behind the shield of anonymous screens. We must refuse to go along with these algorithms as it hinders communication within our own community. The economic costs are brain drain. If young people feel there is no level of playing game in the country, they leave to foreign countries to seek more goods. About 100,000 citizens have migrated from Fiji in the recent years, causing Fiji to hinder many losses. Secondly, inefficient markets, discrimination in hiring or in business causes the most talented to not always get the job, which lowers productivity into the business. Moreover, the social cost is fragile stability. Racial tension causes social anxiety, which discourages both local and foreign investments in Fiji. Fiji has developed great efforts in strengthening unity between communities by incorporating topics of multiculturalism and appreciation to its diverse population in the social science curriculum, and also creating awareness. And Fiji can also create third places for communities such as multicultural centers, sports clubs, and schools where people just don't tolerate each other, they collaborate. Younger generation can play the role of digital activists to create a more cohesive society, as they can use social media to counter hate speeches and unlearning prejudice, challenging racist jokes or attitudes within our own families or friend groups. It may not affect us, but it affects those who are most vulnerable. Every individual in a society has a responsibility to be educated on diversity, equal and fair opportunities between communities, and engaging in promoting unity. Today, I stand before you not just speaking for myself, but a child in Singatoka who thinks why their neighbor looks different, a student in Tava who dreams for a fair chance, and for every Fijian who believes that our diversity is the greatest strength. Let us stop building walls of division and start building bridges of belongings for our unity, equality, and the future of Fiji. Thank you.
Our next orator is Benedetta Wanganavanua. Benedetta is 25 years old and pursuing her postgraduate studies at the Fiji National University. Big round of applause for Benedetta, please.
The great Lucky Dube once sang a truth that we still struggle to learn today. One people, different colors, one people. They say that while we are all different colors on the outside, we bleed the same red color on the inside. But if our color of our blood is the same, it's all red, right? Why are our opportunities so different? Why is our national balance sheet so divided? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow youth of Fiji, and esteemed judges, Nisambula Maleka. When we look at our financial reports of our nation, we see our GDP growth and national debt. But there is a hidden entry that never appears on the balance sheet, yet it was our most expensive liability. That tax is racism. It is an economic disaster and efficiency killer. For a developing nation like Fiji, it is a luxury that we cannot simply afford. Lananda Tikovata, our togetherness, is not just a social goal, it is a financial necessity. From an economics perspective, I see the potential of our youth today. But when racism exists, we create friction in our labor market. Since 2018, 114,000 of our people have left our shores. When our brilliant minds leave for Sydney or Auckland because they don't feel belonged, Fiji's investment walks out the door. We are paying to train our youths only to give them away to developed countries. We call Fiji our home sweet home, but for many, the sweetness is lost to social division. We cannot build a nation if our best people feel like they are outsiders in their own land. Racism hits us where it hurts, in our communities and in our economy. With nearly 1 in 4 people of our young people sidelined, we are losing the game of global development. In accounting, we know that risk always comes with a price. To an international investor, racial division is a high-risk warning sign. Our growth is set at 4.3%, but imagine how much higher it would be if we were not held back by social tension. Imagine the schools, the hospitals, the healthcare system we could build if we're not paying the price of division. So, how do we fix the balance sheet? As young people, we are the auditors of Fiji's future. It is time to declare the old systems of division and social tension bankrupt. Nduavata yalovata verongorongodi, unity, purpose, and oneness in spirit. It is our greatest asset. Our different backgrounds make us strong, but our unity is what makes us rich. Just as the late Michael Jackson sang, if you want to make a world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. It starts with you. We must change. We must look inward and become tolerant people and be kind. We must not look at the color of one's skin, but look at one's character, talents. As every individual here and across the world has something special to offer. We must advocate in our workplaces for standardized merit-based hiring and promotion practices within organization. We shall stop nepotism, encourage inclusive work spaces and work environments. We shall stop looking at our neighbor as our competitor. Start looking at them as your partner. The soil of Fiji does not care about the race of the hand that plants the seed. It only cares that the seed is planted. As I conclude, I leave you with the words of our great Nelson Mandela. Our rich diversity is our collective strength. Let's stop paying the price of and the tax of hate. Let's start investing in the profit of peace. For our students, for our families, and the future of Fiji. We are all different colors, but once the lights go off, we are all black. Vinaka Vakalevu and Danyavad.
Our next speaker is Ria Dutt. Ria is 22 years old and attends Fiji National University. So a big round of applause for Ria, please.
I wish to go on the podium. I wish to speak my truth. I wish to show that I belong here. But then the words echo in my head. Words I've heard before, seen before, and how can I forget the social media comments? You don't belong here. You cannot lead our nation. Go back to your country. You are a Vulangi. And suddenly, all my intrusive thoughts cage me. What if they laugh at me? Oh, they hate my skin color. What if my accent, my skin, my surname becomes louder than my idea? What if I'm not judged by my vision, but judged because of my race? Then another thought arises. What if I go anywhere? What if I stand despite the voices, despite the prejudice, despite the fear? What if my courage silences their ignorance? What if I win against racism? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm not alone in those thoughts. Every day in Fiji, someone carries the same thought. Someone carries the same pain. Someone carries the same heartbreak. A child steps back because of the fear to be judged by the accent. A worker is denied promotion because of their surname. A leader who dreams to serve the nation is disqualified because of its race. A landlord refuses a tenant based on race. We are called the land of Bula smiles, but behind those smiles creeps the shadow of discrimination. I still remember when I was in primary school, I read a book about Raman, Madan, Saras, and Manasa, 3 Indo-Fijian and 1 boy, Manasa. I thought I was growing in such a beautiful country. But today, the reality is harsh. Have you wondered what is the urgency to discuss racial discrimination today? On a bright Friday, when we can stay home, watch Netflix, or have a grog session. Because our nation is wounded. Our nation is failing. When we discriminate, we lose a doctor, we lose a leader, we lose a future gold medalist. When we discriminate, we put a stop sign to Fiji's progress. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to raise above prejudice. But how? That's the question. Another awareness program? Maybe. Another 2-hour-long speech? Not necessary. Another candle march that's been happening since 1960s? Another law that will just look good on black and white paper? No. The first change is not on the streets, it's in your soul. The first revolution is not the parliament, it is in your heart. The day you look another person and see not race, not religion, but simply humanity. I know it's hard to erase centuries of prejudice with one speech, but change does not begin with everyone. It begins with someone. It begins with us. Picture this, an interview panel with every race, every gender, and every voice is present, so that no one can say the doors were closed due to racism. A workplace where you're judged by your talent and not by your race. A boardroom where your opinion matters. The time has come to teach your children about humanity and not about race. Nelson Mandela once said, and I quote, "No one is born hating another person through the skin color. No one discriminates. No one is born hating someone." So, if we want a better Fiji, if we want a Fiji for everyone, we must heal. We must heal. We must help. We must have a mindset. We all belong here, despite the race. Thank you.
We're going to do 2 questions, and then we'll have our last 2 orators. First question: which of the following reflects equality before law? Which of the following reflects equality before law? A, different punishments for similar offenses. B, equal legal treatment for all individuals. C, special treatment based on status. Or D, ignoring legal rights. I saw a hand shoot up over here. I think it was you.
Hello, I'm Tajrian Chaudhary, and I think the correct answer is B.
You're correct.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Our second question, before we go into our second last orator of the day, is which of the following best promotes legal equality? A, access to justice for all. B, limiting legal aid. C, selective enforcement. Or D, ignoring complaints. Ma'am in the, yeah, next to the lady that answered earlier.
Julia, and the answer is A.
Well done, thank you. We're gonna bump straight back into it. Our second last orator of the day is Denton Kerimama. Denton is a student at the University of the South Pacific and is 22 years old. If we can have a big round of applause for him, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I'd just like to acknowledge everyone here for taking out their precious time to come and watch us speak. I know everyone's got a very busy schedule today, but thank you. And to my fellow orators, thank you. You all did great. So today I want to talk about something that affects all of us here living in Fiji. The role of youth in combating racism and promoting social cohesion. As we all know, Fiji is a diverse country. We have different cultures, religions, and traditions. That diversity should be our strength. But the reality is, racism still exists. Sometimes it shows up in jokes, stereotypes, or the way people treat each other. And if we ignore it, it slowly divides us. So this is where youth comes in. Youth are not just the future of Fiji. We are the present. The choices we make today will shape the kind of society we live in tomorrow. Firstly, young people can fight racism through everyday actions. It starts simply with who we sit with in class every day, who we include in our daily conversations, who we choose to be friends with. When we build friendships across cultures, we break down barriers without even trying. We begin to understand each other. instead of judging from a distance. Secondly, we need to speak up when racism happens. Too often, people stay silent because it feels easier. But silence allows racism to continue. If someone makes a racist comment, like our appearance or just the way we address ourselves, we don't need to start a fight. We just need to calmly say, that's not right. Small moments like that can create real change. Thirdly, education plays a big role. When we learn about our history, including events like the endangered system in Fiji, we understand why Fiji is so diverse today. More importantly, we learn the struggles people went through. That understanding builds empathy, and empathy reduces racism. Another powerful tool we have is social media. Many young people spend hours online every day. So instead of spreading negativity, we can use those platforms to promote respect, share positive stories, and celebrate our differences. One post, one message, one voice. We should also take part in community and cultural events. Celebrations like Fiji Day remind us that no matter our background, we are all Fijians. When we celebrate together, we build a sense of belonging that goes beyond ethnicity. But here's the most important point. Change doesn't only happen through big actions. It happens through consistent, small choices. Choosing respect over judgment, choosing understanding over ignorance, choosing unity over division. If young people commit to these choices, we can create a Fiji where racism has no place. A Fiji where people are judged by their character, not their background. A Fiji where diversity is not just accepted, but truly valued. So let's not wait for others to fix this problem. Let's take responsibility and let's lead by example. Because the truth is simple. A more united Fiji starts with us. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our final orator of the day is Serelia Salato. Serelia is 16 years old and is from Andi Dakombao School.
Good afternoon, everybody. Don't worry, I won't make it too long. I know everyone's tired and they want to go home. You've been through 23 people. So I'll just only speak on the main things that I want to share on. I would like to start with a Bible verse because the world started with God. So I believe everything should start with God. So the Bible verse that I'm going to start with comes from the book of Colossians, and it comes from chapter 3, verse 14. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. To the panel of judges, distinguished guests, the lovely audience, and the orators which spoke today, a wonderful afternoon to you all. So I had prepared cards, but after hearing all the lovely orators today, I just chose to speak from the heart. So whatever you have told me, I'd be willing to share. So I come from Vanolevu. I'm originally from Laos, but I was raised in Vanolevu. So I was raised by a single mother. So I was raised, and growing up, I heard lots of people always telling me, "Oi, where's your dad?" I was like, every time I see you, you're just with your mom. Are all Fijian fathers like this? No, that's not true. One person's action doesn't define the whole ethnicity. One mistake of one person doesn't have to spoil a whole race, because at the end of the day, we are all the human race. We all have a heart, we all have a brain, we all have the same organs that God gives us the gift to wake up every day. So I don't see the need why we need to differentiate. One thing I noticed growing up, because I had Muslim friends, I had Indian friends, The Anglican school I came from had mixed ethnicities, and I was friends with everybody. And I hated when people told me, why are you always with the Muslim girls? Why do you hang out with the Indian girls? We are all humans. Our skin color, our race, it doesn't mean anything if we all share the same beating heart. Our differences make us special. It makes us unique. If we were all the same as everyone else, it would be boring. So why do you hide? Why are you ashamed of your brown skin, of your white skin, of your saris, of wearing the leaf skirts when you do mekkes? That's beautiful because it shows you are proud of where you are from. And someone who is ashamed is someone who was raised to hide. I am not raised to hide. I love coming to the light. I love sharing it. And even though I may not be as culturalized as many of you here, I still value and want to learn my culture because I am proud of who I am. And people have told me, oh, you're Lawans, eh? You gang are mixed with the Tongans, so you're not fully Fijian. I'm born in Fiji, so that makes me full Fijian. My mother is from the beautiful province of Tailevu. I carry both of that in me. And I have no shame in showing and saying who I am. I do not care. The causes of racism, the history and all that, the history we carry with us, we can use it to change our present and to create a future. Why repeat history when we can be the ones that can change it and make a future that will be better for everybody? Because I don't want to grow up, I'm the eldest. I have so many little ones after me. I don't want them to grow up and be like, oh, sister, see, she's acting like that because she's an Indian. No. The way you act does not mean of your race, of your ethnicity. It doesn't mean anything like that. We are all beautifully and wonderfully made by God. So why differentiate each other when we can love? If hate can be learned, then love can also be taught. Whatever can be learned can be unlearned. So what I fail to understand is why so many people want to focus on differentiating. We are born naked and we go back naked. So why spend so much time hating? Why spend so much time being bitter when we can love, when we can spread the love? The 5 guiding questions I wrote on, I just simply spoke from the heart because your message was so beautiful to me. In ACS, we do that. We don't care if you're Indian, you can play rugby. We don't care if you're Fijian, you can play soccer. If you have the talent and the gift God gave in you, your ethnicity, your race, culture, tradition, that all does not matter. Because in the end, we're all human, and you are special in all your ways. I faced racist comments. I don't care. I know I'm made by God, so why should I change for you? I live my truth. I live my life. So that's what I wanted to share. And before I end, I write poetry, so I want to leave you all with one stanza. I dream to live in a world that doesn't see black or white, but rather a world that sees all in the same light. A world where one doesn't have to find their place, but we are one, the human race. Thank you.
Preeti Komal Singh is here. So if we can give her a huge round of applause. Lucky last.
Have you ever been judged for what you are or how you look like or where you're from? Confronting racism and building unity in Fiji. Nisambula, respected judges, organizers, and my fellow young people. Today I want to talk about something that is very important in our country that is called racism. We are lucky to live in Fiji, a nation known for its beautiful island and rich culture and communities. We speak different languages and practice different religion and celebrate different tradition. Yet sometimes these differences become reason for division instead of unity. So we must ask ourselves, why does racism exist in Fiji? Often racism begins with misunderstanding. People grow up having stereotypes about other communities. Sometimes history, politicals, social media also create fear and mistreat between groups. When we do not take the time to understand each other, small misunderstanding can turn into big divisions. Another question, who drives racial division in society? Sometimes it's careless word, unfair jokes, or negative comments that slowly normalize discrimination. Sometimes it is a leader or online platform spreading misinformation, but we must remember something important. Racism does not only start in big places, it starts in an everyday conversation. The social and economic costs are large. Racism creates tension between communities. And we can stress it prevents people from working together to solve the problems. And public a strong country when people feel excluded because of their race and they may feel that they don't belong to that community. But Fiji is a strong place where everyone belongs. So how do we strengthen unity? The answer is so simple, but powerful: understanding, respect, and dialogue. We must learn about each other's culture, celebrate diversity, and create space when people can talk openly. Schools, families, and communities must teach young people that our differences are not weakness. They are strength. In Fiji, we often say that Vedo Kai regrets for one another. That means we should respect for one another. In Hindi, we say that Sab Ek Hai, we are all one. As we say in Fijian, Dua Vata na kawa ito ke na kaindia ke ira kedena lewa ni vanua. Together we are one people. In Hindi, we also say हम सब एक है और एक साथ मजबूत है. And also in Fijian we say Nayalo Vata, united in spirit. These words remind us that unity is not just an idea, it is a responsibility. Finally, what role do you people play? Young people are the future of the Fiji. We have the power to challenge, build friendship across culture, and stand up when we are discriminated. Through our voice, our action, and through our social media platform, we can promote kindness, equality, and understanding. If our generation chooses unity over division, we can build a better Fiji. A Fiji where people are not judged by people race, but by their character. A Fiji where diversity is celebrated. A Fiji where everyone feels they belong. Let us speak for unity, let us speak for equality, and let us speak for the future of Fiji. Let us not be divided by race, but united by each and everyone. Dhanyavad Vinaka Vakalevu, and thank you.
Okay, there was a bit of shuffling in regards to the order of the speakers because we had people traveling from quite long distances. So just before we continue, can we just make sure that we have heard from all of the orators in the room? Is that correct? All right, set. Okay, continuing on, we are going to invite our judges up to the stage just to give us some feedback and to share a little bit of their thoughts on what they heard today. So if we can have a round of applause for our esteemed judges.
It was tough. First of all, we didn't have much time in between, and we had to keep going. But we need to declare that we were given rubrics. Yeah? So there were content and relevance, originality and insight, structure and organization. They've got to count our scores. So there was no collusion between us. Even though we sat next to each other, we didn't look at each other's points. So let's see how it tallies. We also had to look at structure and organization, delivery and confidence, language and clarity, audience engagement and impact. So we didn't discuss this. I think the only thing we discussed that we were going to give you points for just showing up. It would take a lot of courage. So you got almost 30%. In fact, on my side, no one got below 50. Content. So there were themes. So there were also instructions given to the orators, and there were themes. So in my case, I listened and tried to hear whether you addressed the themes. There were questions given. A few of you talked about your lived experience, your personal experience, identity issues. That counted, but I was looking for the themes as well. Originality, original thought, expressions on, linking the themes and your own way of saying it. I did look at AI, and so I could pick up a few ideas, but that was good. I mean, you touched the ideas, and many of you, in terms of you touched the themes, but you expressed it differently, and that's where originality came in. Body language matters. Some of you were holding on to your pants, you didn't know what to do with this. Just know that we in the audience look at your hands. Yeah, like right now, if I was doing this or doing this, you won't be looking at me, you'd be looking at my hands, right? Yeah, so that was distracting. Your tone, your intonation, yeah, so if you were like a bit monotone, like one gear going like that, yeah, so that also came into it. And of course, engagement with the audience. You had notes, some of you basically read your notes, so you kind of lose the few points with that, although you did coordinate. Strictly, you were given 5 minutes and 1 second. I minused 1 point for not staying in. But I have to say, I gave an additional point for, who was it, Sarah Lee? She thought she was the last, so she sort of discarded her notes, and it was almost she was penalized for being the last because everybody said, all of that. So you kind of lost 1 point, gained 1 point here, but no one got less than 50%. So that's how I went. How did you go? Now we hear how each other judged, right?
Thank you for that, Madam. Bula Vinaka, everyone. It's an absolute honor to be here as a judge today. As a lecturer in law, I have dedicated the past 10 years of my life training the next generation of lawyers, not just for the courtroom, but to be leaders as well. And it gives me absolute pleasure to see this room filled with so many, not just talented speakers, but also fearless speakers. It's not easy to stand here and speak on a subject that affects all of us, but you've done so well. So all the orators, regardless of what the result is today, you must be very proud of yourself just for being here, just for showing up and speaking on a subject that affects everyone. So I'm very proud of you all. As Madam has rightfully said, we work strictly by our marking rubrics. So whilst we really enjoyed listening to you, you've brought forward issues that affect your personal lives, we still work according to the rubrics. So I look at the content as well as your delivery in accordance with the content that we're judging on. And of course, the body language matters, the confidence matters. What I noticed was something specific. In courtroom, we say, raise your argument, not your voice. So speaking loud does not necessarily mean you're making an impact in terms of content. So that could be improved amongst the orators. Just because someone was loud does not necessarily mean they've performed well. The other aspects, I think everyone did thorough research. In terms of originality, some came in with extra bit compared to the others. I know AI helps a lot of people, so we were able to gauge which speakers had actually engaged a little bit of AI here and there, but the fact is you've all demonstrated thorough knowledge of the subject matter, and we hope we can do the best for you all. As the day ends today, remember there'll be 3 winners, but all of you go out as winners just for having the courage to be here. Thank you very much.
Yes, you reminded me of a couple of things. Yes, so if I felt you were shouting, I made a distinction between, keeping your voice level. Remember that people are here to listen to your message, and if you shout at people, they might get a little bit, nervous or put off. And again, it was a judgment. I gave additional points for those of you who specifically talk to youth, because I felt this was a youth oratory, and while it was one of the, the themes, but if you were speaking largely to a youth audience, and if you were animated, there was somebody who really used the stage. I thought that was, quite theatrical, and again, it's a performance, but substantive, yeah? So, yeah, there are many more, but like I said, you're all winners. So let's give all the 25 winners. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we're going to invite the TRC Commissioner, Mr. Sekove Nangiolevu, the Dialogue Fiji Chair, Mr. Nemani Buresova, and Dialogue Fiji Director Nilesh Lal to the stage to present the prizes. As you can tell from the delay, it was very close, and you guys really gave the judges a tough job. We're going to start off with third place once all the judges get situated. And I think I'll ask the winners to enter from the right of the stage, and then you can exit from the left. Are we ready? In third place for the National Oratory Competition, we have congratulations, Anaya Gounder.
Stand in the middle.
A round of applause for Anaya, please. Congratulations. Well done. Oh, I'm getting nervous. In second place, we have Sevuloni. Is that correct? Yes. Sevuloni Amatatoaili. Congratulations, Sevuloni. And finally, first place for the National Oratory Competition 2026 goes to congratulations, Nafitala and Gerewasa. Don't be shy now, come on up. Well done. Yes, I think we're going to also mention our 4th and 5th place. Okay. In 4th place, drum roll. Congratulations, Ria Dutt. Come on up. And in 5th place, Nirav Ram. Congratulations, you guys can come up. She was very creative. Yeah. So all of the contestants are going to receive their certificates of participation. We're going to read them out. If you hear your name, just come on up and take a photo. First up is Ria Dutt. Next up is Denton Kerimama. Navitalai Gerewasa. Amelia Songonatambua. Kelevi Stark. Rizal Ali Khan. Tajrian Chaudhry. Sebuloni Amatawali. Lemeki Wadokodoko. Nirav Ram. Ashwarya Prasad. Lenaita Singudake. Anaya Gounder. Priti Singh. Racheli Tale. Aaron Prasad. Celine Tambuakoro. Chilo. Axel Kilambe. Wilma Mafi. Joy Kunanitu. Birdie Mai Samoa. Bridie Mai Samoa. Bernadetta Wangavanua. Manoa Korovuluvula. And Aditi Nath. And of course, the young woman that started us off today. Can we give a big round of applause to Mere? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the future of Fiji. Can we give them a round of applause?